Hi everyone, welcome to another Yarn Scrap Friday with me, Laura, and in this video, this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this stitch. And this stitch is known as either the Sultan stitch, or it could also be a variation of the Cupcake stitch. So I'm going to show you how to make this. Okay, so to make this pattern, I've just used a DK light worsted weight yarn. That's a yarn weight of 3, but you can use any yarn that you like. And with that, I've been using a 4mm G crochet hook. So first thing to do for this pattern is you need to work to units of 4 to begin with. So units of 4. So start thinking about the 4 times table. And I can't remember how many I chained at the beginning for this particular one, but it doesn't matter. So what we're going to do is I'll slip knot first, and we're going to work to units of 4. So let's start off with 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's our first unit of 4. And then I'll go up to 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'll do a few more. 8, next one, so up to 12, 9, 10, 11, 12. And add another 4, 13, 14, 15, 16. I remember what I did last time now. 20, up to 20, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I've basically done 4 times 5 there to get up to 20. So once you've worked out your 4 times table, whoops, just dropped my yarn on the floor, for however long you want to make your project, you might be making a scarf or a blanket with this stitch, you just work to units of 4, so 4 times table, and then when you've worked out how many groups of 4 you want to make it long, you add 2 on the end. So 1 and 2, and these 2 come at the end of your 4 times table multiplication. Okay, so you add 2 onto the end. So I end up with 22 for this little block piece example that I'm doing. And then what we're going to do though is we are going to add an extra 3. So this is going to be our first chain row. Okay, so this is at the beginning. We've added 2 on the end. Now we're going to work our first row, but the first thing we need to do is chain another 3 on top of that, and that's going to count as a double crochet, and this pattern's in US terminology, double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's counting as a double crochet. So what we've done is we've done those last 3, which is our double crochet, then we did the 2, which we added to our multiplication, and then I did my 4 times table, which was I did 5 times 4 to get 20. Okay, so once you've done that, what we then do is we are going to do a double crochet in the 6th stitch from our hook. Now we don't count the loop on our hook, so our 6th stitch is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in there we're going to do a double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, because this pattern's in US terminology, put our hook into that 6th stitch and do a double crochet. And now you can see that those 3 have become a double crochet up there, and you've got two chains in between. Okay, so you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains here, 3 of the double crochet, 2 chains in between. Okay, and then what we're going to do once we've done that double crochet is we're going to chain 2. So chain 1 and 2, chain 2, and we're going to do a double crochet in that same chain. So go back into that same 6th chain and do another double crochet. So you end up with this sort of V shape like that, and we're creating this first row across here now. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're not going to chain anything, we're just going to yarn over, and we're going to skip 3 chains. So 1, 2, 3, skip 3, and then in the 4th one we're going to do a double crochet. Double crochet, and then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we do another double crochet in the same chain. So go back into the same chain and do another double crochet. So that's our next V shape. Okay, like so. We're just going to repeat that all the way across, so we don't chain when we're skipping our 3. So skip another 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and then in that 4th one we do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. So double crochet, chain 2. I'm sorry the lighting's not amazing, but it's a really dark day today. So double crochet, chain 2, another double crochet in the same stitch. Okay, another double crochet. Then we skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we do a double crochet in the 4th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this 4th one we do the same thing again. We do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the same stitch. Okay, same thing again, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, then in the next chain, the 4th one, we do double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and then we are, see where we are, we're near the end. Yeah, we should have 3 chains remaining, 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip 2 this time, which is the same amount we have in between these 3 as our double crochet, and we've got 2 chains in between there. So we're going to skip the next 2, 1, 2, and then in the very last one we're just going to do 1 double crochet. Just 1 double crochet on the edge, so we get a nice straight edge. Okay, well, that's put my yarn up. So it looks something like that. Okay. And now we're going to work on the next round. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn. This chain 1 I'm not counting as a stitch. So chain 1 and then turn. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to do 1 double crochet in this gap here, this big gap here. That's just to create a straight edge. So just 1 double crochet in this big gap. So this big gap here. This one here, I'm just going to put my hook into there and then wrapping it round, do a double crochet. Okay, so that's just to keep a straight edge along here. Now what we want to do is find our 2 chain space inside that V. So in here and in there we're going to work 4 double crochets. So there's our 2 chains, and in the big gap underneath, 2 chain space, we're going to do 4 double crochets. 1, 2, let's move the stitches over, 3 and 4. Yeah. Okay, so I've done 4 double crochets in that 2 chain space, just wrapping it around the 2 chains. And I'm going to do that all the way across. So I'm going to go right onto the next, straight onto the next 2 chain space and do another 4 double crochets. So find the next 2 chain space, not this one here, we need to find it in between the V shape. So the 2 chains in between the V, and in there we're going to do another 4 double crochet. We do that all the way across, 1 till we get to the end, 2, 3 and 4. So there's 4 in there, in that 2 chain space. Then I'm going to find the next 2 chain space in the next V and do 4 double crochet in there. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, it's 4 in there. Over to the next V and the 2 chain space, and I'm going to do 4 double crochet in there. Same again. 1, 2. Let's get some more yarn. My yarn's fallen into a box. 3. Whoops. And 4. So there's 4 double crochets in that 2 chain space in the V, and then over to the very last V and the last 2 chain space, and we do 4 double crochet in there. 1, 2, 3 Okay, but when we get to the end, we want to create a nice straight edge. So what we need to do is we're going to yarn over and we're going to do a double crochet in the top of these 3 chains. So there's the top of that double crochet stitch there. So if you just turn it over, you'll see your little top chain there. And in there, we just want to do a double crochet as neatly as you can, which I'm not doing. Okay. Try and crochet for a camera, there we go. So in that chain, doing 1 double crochet, so it looks something like that. So you've got 1 double crochet this end and this end, just to create a straighter edge. And there we go, that's the second row. What we're going to do next is we're going to chain 1, don't count that as a stitch, and turn. And the first thing we're going to do is, in this space here, we are going to do 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. So find this big gap to the side of your 4 double crochets, big gap here. We hook in there, wrapping it around, we are going to do 1 double crochet, like so, chain 2, 1 and 2, and another double crochet in the same gap. Okay, like that. Then we're going to move on to the next gap. So in between the next 4, so skip those 4 double crochets, and in the next gap we're going to do the same. We're going to do a double crochet, 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. So basically that V shape again, okay, in the gap. Same for the next gap, skip the next 4 double crochets, find the next gap and do 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. Okay, and then we'll skip the next 4 double crochets, do the same thing in the next gap, 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet for your next V shape. Then skip the next 4 double crochets, the next gap, 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. Then when we get to the end, skip the next 4, and there's still a gap there, so in that gap we do the same thing. We do 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. Okay, like so. So then what we're going to do is we are going to move on to the next row. So for the next row, going to chain 1 and turn, don't count that as a stitch. Now our little, you see we got our first little row of little cupcake shapes or sultan's shape there, but as you can see it alternates, so they're not on top of each other, so we're going to have to do something different for this row. So in this first gap, what we're going to do here, in this first 2 chain space, we're just going to do 2 double crochets. We're effectively doing half a cupcake. So in this first 2 chain space, inside that V, we're going to just do 2 double crochet. So 1 and 2. Okay, just 2. Then we move on to our next V, 2 chain space, and we do our 4 double crochets as normal. And repeat that all the way across, just doing the 4 double crochets until we get to the end. We'll match it doing half a cupcake. That's a slight cupcake variation because in other patterns there's like an extra stitch on the top of the cupcake, so it's just a little bit different. Okay, so 4 double crochets in there, and then find the next V, 2 chain space, and do 4 double crochets in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the next 2 chain space in the next V, 1, 2, 3, 4, so 4 double crochets in there. Next V, next 2 chain space, we do another 4 double crochets, and if I'm going a little bit too fast for you, if you're a beginner, then I do recommend learning the double crochet pretty much and then coming back to this tutorial. So I've got some beginner tutorials on my channel, just do a search I need to redo those actually, but I should teach you how to do a double crochet. Then onto the very last V. Now this last one, we are just going to do 2 double crochet to match this half a cupcake here. So 1 and 2. So we're just doing 2 double crochet in that end one. Okay, and then we are just going to finish off the last row to get the top of our little Sultan stitch or cupcake. So same again, we chain 1 and turn. If I can get my hook in, chain 1 and turn. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to do 1 double crochet in this stitch here. And there's a reason for that, it's just to neaten off the edge. So if you can just find that little gap here in there and just put your hook in there and just do 1 double crochet. That's just to neaten off the edge here before if we go straight on to our first V shape, then we'll end up with a gap here. So we just put a little double crochet on the end there, and then in this gap here in between our 4 double crochets we do our little V shape. So we do 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet, all in the same gap. Okay, 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet, and then skip 4 double crochets, and it's the same as the row before last. You repeat that all the way across. So in between the next 4 double crochets we do 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet to get that V shape. Okay, and then skip the next 4 double crochets. In the next gap we do 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet, skip the next 4 double crochets. The next gap, 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet, skip the next 4 double crochets, and then in that last gap we're going to do 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. But as you can see, we're not quite at the end, so we don't want to end up with a gap here. So what we need to do is in between those 2 double crochets you've got there, which is your half a cupcake from a previous row, there's a little chain 1 on the end. You should see the gap in between the 2 double crochets and your chain 1. In there, just on the end, in that gap, we're going to stick a double crochet, and that just neatens off the edge. So there we go, that's the bulk of the pattern. So you've done 2 rows, which is the bulk of the pattern. You get 2 lots of 2 rows. So then you go back to doing this alternate row here. So you just go back to where I instructed you on this row here, which would have been the, if we count the chains as our first row, 2, 3, our third row. So we chain 1 and turn. So what we're going to do is we need to create a straight edge again. So we're just going to do 1 double crochet in this gap here just to create a straight edge. So find that first gap there, so not in the V, in this little gap here, and do 1 double crochet. So we can't do the half a cupcake because that's on the other alternate row. We're going back to this row here. So we just have to do the 1 double crochet to get the straight edge. Then we're on to our 4 double crochet in our V shape, like so. 1, 2, 3, and 4 in our V. 4 in our V, then move on to the next V, and so on and so forth. And you just repeat the pattern. You just repeat these 2 rows, well 4 rows actually, isn't it, because you've got the bottom half is 1 row, top half is the second, and then bottom half is the third, top is the 4th row. So repeat these 4 rows for as long as you want to create the pattern really. And there we go. That is how to do the Sultan stitch, or a variation of the cupcake stitch. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Hope you managed to follow along. and I will see you soon for some more crochet fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.